Hi everybody, I'm Ernesto Baida, winemaker at Catena Zapata. We are here on a beautiful day in the middle of the harvest. Everything looks so far fantastic in this 2021. Right in my back you have the Pirámide Vineyard, La Pirámide Vineyard, and in front of me, now in my back, you have La Pirámide that names the vineyard. So cheers, salud, welcome to Catena Zapata. The Catena Zapata family is one of the pioneering families in the winemaking history of Mendoza. It all started at the beginning of the 1900s, 1902 actually, when this gentleman here, Nicola Catena, arrived from Italy, from La Marche, and planted the first family vineyard in the east part of Mendoza. Then his son, right here, Domingo Vicente Catena, we have a label called DV Catena on his honor. He made the family winery to race to become one of the most important wineries in Argentina. At the time where Argentinians had the wine as part of their diet, of their meal, we used to drink a lot of wine per capita in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Because of the Italian and Spanish immigration, the wine culture in Argentina became very important, and it still is very important. We are still one of the biggest producers and consumers of wine in the world. So wine has been with us all throughout the history. Then the third generation, Nicolás Catena Zapata, he after visiting different parts of the world, Nicolás understood that we had a lot of potential to make Argentina one of the best wine producers in terms of quality and terroir expression. So he decided to start exploring new places. In the beginning of the 90s, he planted Adriana Vineyard, the highest vineyard planted at that moment in Mendoza, 1,500 meters above sea level. He was looking for cooler climate where he understood that he could get the best quality on the grapes. And at the same time, he introduced very strong concepts of technology in the vineyard and technology in the winery to make sure that the potential and the quality was protected as much as possible. That quality coming from the vines in the vineyard, expressing the essence of our terroirs. And the fourth generation, you can see here, Laura Catena. Laura is now in charge, the fourth generation of the family. She's in charge of the winery. And Laura, as a biologist, she introduced a lot of power, a lot of energy. Those who know Laura know that she is a very powerful, full of energy person into terroir exploration, terroir research, and understanding what made us here in Mendoza, what made our terroirs unique and different, and on that way we discovered the high altitude effect on our vineyards, the high altitude effect on our Malbecs especially, and the uniqueness that our terroirs have. And after that, exploring more and more the concept of parcelas, of parcels, discovering and developing new appellations here in Mendoza, identifying them, describing them scientifically, to put the Argentina terroirs on top of the world. Talking about specifically about the wines you are going to taste, let me tell you that in that search of understanding our terroirs and identifying new appellations and new regions and describing them and understanding the wines coming from them, we developed a new label, a new line, a new layer of wines called Catena Appellations Series. If you know our wines, you know that talking about a pyramid or describing a pyramid, the base of the pyramid will be Catena Clásico, which is our understanding, our expression of the high mountain vineyards and the high altitude effect on all of the Catena family vineyards, the 7 of them planted in different parts of the best valleys in Mendoza. And going up or climbing the pyramid, what you will find is basically exploring deeper into the concept of terroir, of appellations. And the very top of the pyramid, you will find our wines of Parcela, Vinos de Parcela from Adriana, which are basically a group of plants. So the base of the pyramid, the Catena Clásico, talks about Mendoza as a high altitude vineyard region, and the very top of the pyramid talks about parcelas, groups of plants, micro terroir concept. So one step above of Catena Clásico, which represents the area of Mendoza, or is a blend of different parts of Mendoza, we decided to use components of those wines, the most significant appellations that will go to those wines for Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay, and we decided to put them separate, bottle part of those components as appellations, also to talk about the different expression of our terroirs. You will be tasting Tupungato Chardonnay, appellation Tupungato Chardonnay 2017, which comes from Domingo Vineyard, planted at 1,200 meters above sea level, and Adriana Vineyard, 1,500 meters above sea level, the two highest vineyards or Chardonnay vineyards of the Catenas, and unique because there are no other Chardonnays bottled coming from that altitude in the world. We also have our Catena Alta Chardonnay, which comes from the same vineyards, but it's a different winemaking approach, and it's a different selection of vines inside the vineyard. So the Catena appellation comes from those two vineyards, and in terms of winemaking, what we want to do, which is the same we do for the Catena Clásico, we will put some oak on the wine, or the wine will see some oak during the aging process, but only 50% of the wine will be in contact with oak. The other 50% is stainless steel. So we keep on that way the freshness, the acidity, the floral, the white fruit that we find in the Chardonnay from higher altitude vineyards. Another wine you will be tasting is the Catena Appellations Agrelo 2014. Is this vineyard, the one you saw at the beginning, at my introduction. Those Cabernet Sauvignon plants in my bag are the origin of Catena Appellations Agrelo. Agrelo is an area in Mendoza that is like in one of the lowest parts of the valley, and that means that we have deep, clayly, heavy soils, a type of soils that Cabernet Sauvignon really likes, and it's one of the coldest areas. You expect to have colder temperatures at higher altitudes, but here in Agrelo happens something unique, which is like we are like in a plateau, we are like in a bowl. So all the cold air draining from the Andes mountains and draining from the higher valleys will sit here in Agrelo. So you have a combination of deep soils, heavy soils that have a lot of water retention, and at the same time very colder temperatures that make Cabernet Sauvignon to give a very classic, a very unique profile. Mendoza, you know, it's very widely known because of the Malbec, and Argentina is also known because of the Malbec. So in the appellations, in the Catena appellation series, we have a few Malbecs because we want to show how different they are planting the same Malbec in different appellations. Appellation La Consulta is one of the historic appellations in Mendoza. Consider it's part of the Uco Valley, which we can call a recent area developed in the last 30 years. But appellation La Consulta, or the La Consulta area, because they had better access to that part of Uco Valley, and because they had natural canals and rivers that could feed that part of the Uco Valley, it's been developed a century ago or maybe more. So in Uco Valley, La Consulta is like the very beginning of the vine growing and the winemaking. Decades ago, the winemakers will go to La Consulta to find Malbecs for their blends that will give them the intense dark fruit and intense concentration and full-bodied and round wines for using on their wines. Nowadays we still have a lot of old vineyards planted in La Consulta, and it's been always like the second beginning of the Malbec. The first beginning will be closer to Mendoza in Lulunta, or what we call the first region or the historic region, but very, very short distance in time La Consulta was developed. So appellation La Consulta represents a very traditional area for cold climate Malbecs in Mendoza, and that's what we try to represent on the appellation, Catena appellation La Consulta. Regarding the vintages, you have on the reds, you have 2014, which was a beautiful, typical Mendocinian or Mendozan vintage. Very, very nice dry climate, not too hot temperatures, mild temperatures. And 2017, especially for Chardonnay, it was a fantastic vintage because it's one of the coldest vintage of the decade. By the way, 2021 is coming along the way, and it is showing also colder climate. But 2017 was a very cold and low crop vintage. So that means that we had a beautiful expression in Chardonnay, a lot of concentration of aromas, of flavors, and a lot of freshness, white fruit, minerality, peaches. So it's not the typical, and obviously talking about the high altitude Chardonnay, we don't find a lot of the typical descriptors, tropical descriptors of Chardonnay that you normally find in the rest of the world. So thank you very, very much. I'm just pointing up to the top of the pyramid. I'm on the basement here, yes. Those are the stairs to the ground zero, level 0, and you can see the stairs up. So I hope I can meet you here sometime. You are all welcome to come to La Pirámide, to Mendoza, and feel the high altitude here. Good luck. Cheers, salud. Enjoy the wines. Thank you.